I mean, episode 3 might be one of my favorite episodes.
I know loads of people dislike it, but I actually think it's such an underrated episode of the series.
Why do people dislike it?
Because it's really complicated, because it's contrived, because they don't like Chris Chibnall Doctor Who. Like, I mean, guys in the comments, if you're still watching at this point, let us know if you like Once Upon a Time, and if you don't, tell us why you don't like it. But I watched it again just for the finale. I never got all the way through Flux before the finale, but I got to episode 3 and I was like, this is great. It's really good. It's like we're watching a past adventure of the Doctor from the Ruth Doctor days, plus a load of other stuff going on with some really creative ideas in there.
Yeah, I just really liked how it was told. Don't get me wrong, I don't understand any of the sci-fi nonsense or how
time versus space.
Yeah, or even just how the Doctor saves them all from their own time.
Okay, yeah.
Don't know. Yeah. I just see like it's just a piece of theatre where 4 players who are all interconnected in their lives are just playing roles within different people's lives. And that worked. That really, really worked for me. I loved seeing like Yaz interview Vinda. Joji is the police officer. That was brilliant. And it was just like it felt quite drama. Quite drama. And I'm always there for that sort of thing. And see, this is where I'm struggling with my piece. That was where time versus space was introduced, wasn't it? That's all. I love that. I think that's brilliant because that is the sort of sci-fi. Was it you who was saying that you didn't quite get how that works?
Possibly. Well, certainly at episode 3, I didn't fully. I think I kind of understand it a bit more after the finale, and obviously we see time as a sort of entity, and that there's a war between time and space, as you know, and trying to sort of use entities to kind of for us to comprehend it, basically. But that time will always win out against space was sort of the idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I didn't get time will always win out against space. So I just sort of took it. This is the sci-fi that you only find books, as I say, it's hardcore sort of like time being alive and space being alive and they're fighting each other. And it's the thing that all franchises do of sort of like, I mean, no one likes Harry Potter anymore, but like it's the sort of like it's the war that Harry Potter is fighting versus the first Wizarding War with like Dumbledore and Grindelwald that you hear about, or it's the New Testament versus the Old Testament. It's like the sequel trilogy of Star Wars versus the time. I'm not a Star Wars fan, where there wasn't like Han Solo wondering about. It's like that sort of thing, and I was really excited to see that in Doctor Who, and it was that sort of dark times sort of mythology, and of course, and it's that sci-fi where there are no rules or there are no physics to the universe. That's really exciting to me, and that's why I really, and it just planted the Doctor as sort of this ancient being, which we know they are. They don't always act like, or it's just it really made that real. You know, I mean, they were around when the universe began.
Yeah, they were around in what we know as the Dark Times, which is meant to be like millions of years ago, near enough. And so that means that the Doctor is hecking old.
It's just so cool. It was just really, really cool. The only first thing I was like, oh, I would love to see more of the Ruth Doctor. Because I absolutely adore Jo Martin. She's my favorite Doctor. Did I tell you I got her autograph?
Oh, did you?
The whole thing.
Oh, very nice. Go on. Got to show it off.
This is an interlude for the video.
Yes. So what did you like? I'll say like, hello, I'm a Doctor Who fan. Can I please have your autograph?
Well, yeah. Well, for viewers' context, I've just finished working on the last series of Holby City, and obviously Jo Martin, who's amazing, is a regular on Holby City, and I'm a professional at work. But the last day, I was like, I can't let Doctor Who go away without asking her for an autograph.
Yeah.
So I asked if I could ask her, and she was really lovely about it. So
was she?
A little magazine.
Oh,
she was really wonderful about it, and she's so proud to be a Doctor as well. And we had a little chat. So she is my favourite Doctor for the fact that I've worked with her.
Yes. Did she tell you she's coming back?
This was afterwards. This was afterwards, but no, she didn't say anything. What was I say? Oh, I was just like sort of so desperate to see her in Flux anyway. And so when she was here, I was like, thank God for that. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I would have really liked to see more with her and see her be a bigger player in that episode.
Yeah.
And sort of that conversation where she's in the Temple of Atropos. I would like to see all of that from her point of view. But that's not how the story works. It's that thing of Jodie's story. And it's how the story currently affects Jodie. So I get why she didn't have that much to do. But I'm not being coherent here. I just really like that episode.
I think it's. I was trying to think about this, like, what's my favorite episode of Doctor Who Flux? Like, I think it's harder than previous series to kind of separate it out from the rest because it's all one story. But I think it's any of the middle three of, well, not middle, like 2, 3, or 4 are probably my favorites. I can't decide. Like, I did really like the Angels one on first watch, and I felt like it was just a very good Weeping Angel story. Like, it wasn't anything groundbreaking with Weeping Angels, apart from the ending, which was really, really fun. But it was really, it was a really enjoyable Weeping Angel story, even if it wasn't doing anything particularly new with them.
See, I was trying to sort of gauge the reaction to episode 4. And I thought, like, as the reaction to episode 3, like, people were sort of like not liking it, and the 4 was like, oh my god, this is amazing, Maxine Osborne's friend Doctor Who. I thought it was a brilliant textbook episode of Doctor Who. Fantastic. There was nothing groundbreaking about it, and that's like sort of like that's why I really liked Once Upon a Time, because it just felt new, it felt different, it felt that's all. And episode 4 was fine, but that was, to me, was where the serial, and this it comes back to sort of Doctor Who Flux. It wasn't Doctor Who Flux anymore. It was Doctor Who Division, and that was when I really felt like
it was for 2 episodes, and then episode 6 it forgot it was.
Yeah, but it's like, at that point I was like, this is not what you sold me when I came into the shop. This is very much taken a different turn, and you're right that it changed back again. I don't know. I wanted it to be one thing or the other, or link the two things. Like, obviously it was going to come back that somehow the Division created the Flux. But we weren't investigating the Division because of the Flux. We were sort of like, the Division was here and it was snowballing at the same time as the Flux. I wanted those things to be more integrated. And looking at what else the other thing that I loved, the thing I really loved about the Angels episode was have you seen Ashes to Ashes?
No, I've seen most of Life on Mars, but I haven't seen Ashes to Ashes.
Okay, can I spoil it for you?
Go for it. I'm probably not going to watch it.
Okay, so the sort of ending of Ashes to Ashes, because Ashes to Ashes is basically Life on Mars, but instead of John Sim, it's Keeley Hawes, and Jean is still there, and the other 3 are still there, and they open this door like in the street, and they just see stars. So they turn a corner in like the penultimate episode of Ashes to Ashes, and where there should be a street, it's just fields of stars. And they're like, what the hell's going on? And it all sort of, this is a big spoiler for Life on Mars, Ashes to Ashes, sorry, but it all transpires like that this is the afterlife for coppers who were like, weren't able to rest. But it's that thing of just turning a corner and seeing stuff, the world stopping and the world breaking. And that was the thing that I thought that was amazing. It's absolutely just so gorgeous. Such a rich sci-fi concept, which Doctor Who can lack in. For a sci-fi show, we can actually go sort of quite sort of pedestrian with our sci-fi. They never really make it that hardcore because it's such a sort of general show.
And often people, I think people often criticize it for being too sci-fi almost. Like, generally the more popular episode, but often the more popular episodes are the ones that aren't sci-fi and are more, emotional and just TV drama. And I'm like, I like a balance of that, but I think fundamentally, like, Doctor Who is sci-fi as much as it is anything else, and so it's got to push the boundaries with sci-fi sometimes.
Yeah, and this is the thing, because I'm not really that sci-fi orientated. No. Like, I'll dip into Star Wars. I watched the Picard series, Star Trek, but you know what I mean. It's like, that's not what draws me to Doctor Who. But of this series, those were always my favorite parts. I don't know, it just really clicked past it this year for me with that, and it was so ambitious. That's what I liked about it. What I didn't like about that Angels episode, I feel like I'm starting to get into interview sort of territory. When people are like, what are you watching at the moment, David? That's what I feel like I'm starting to do. Sorry. I hated the sort of ending of that episode, because I wasn't really sure what it was at the time. Someone explained to me that basically the Lone Angel had grouped together with all of the other angels, and they decided that what the Lone Angel had done wasn't as bad as getting the Doctor was better than punishing the Lone Angel. And I just thought that was such a cop out because one, it's like sort of ha ha ha, this was all part of my plan, Doctor.
Yeah.
But which is like naff also. But it also just really like sort of like understated and underplayed whatever bad thing the Lone Angel had done, which we never found out. We never actually
No, that's true.
learned
Just that they rebelled,
angel.
but that was kind of it.
It's like, and it just sort of then like, oh, so that doesn't matter as long as you have the Doctor. I don't know. It was just, it was clunky to get to the point of Jodie being an angel. When Jodie was an angel, I was happy.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah,
I know. I wasn't a fan of that. This is why I would favor episode 3 over episode 4.
Yeah.
Just for those reasons.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess the only episode we haven't really spoken that much about is episode 5, which I feel like you look back in retrospect and it's kind of an episode that just has to be there to give you some information, but isn't really going to be a particularly satisfying watch back again in the future. Like most of the stuff with Dan, Yaz, and Jericho, as much as they're fun, are completely inconsequential. Like the whole, they've got to go and find some guy to tell them to write a message by the Great Wall of China, which doesn't make any sense anyway. To then show to Carvanista, who can't time travel, so it's completely pointless. And then they stumble across, ending up in Liverpool and meeting Williamson and go from there because they met him. He happened to turn up in the boat, and it's like half of that stuff just doesn't have any. It's literally just a romp for no purpose, which. Just to fill out the episode, when there's already so much stuff in the series, why would you waste time on pointless, rompy aspects of it? That was my sort of frustration.
So the first thing I wrote for episode 5 was that's when I realised that the payoffs just weren't going to happen, or they weren't happening fast enough to get us into the place that we needed to be for episode 6. And I was like, this is where it sort of starts to derail for me. Because you're right, it's just filler. I love the sort of like. Stan and Jericho traveling around for 5 years or 3 years or whatever.
Yeah,
they do not feel like traumatized, like they've had to live in the past for 3 years. Like that,
I know
that sounds quite traumatic to me.
And what happened to the little girl who was with them at the end of episode 4 as well? Do you remember? Because she was the girl who turned up to be the old lady eventually. But where the heck did she go? Did they just dump her off at an orphanage or something, or what?
I have no idea.
That was just completely ignored. I was like, there was another character there that you just forgot about, and somehow she becomes this old lady in the future. Anyway, that's
and it's just this thing of sort of like loose ends. It's like you're right. There's so much to unpack in that story. This is why the Grand Surface story I really liked. Actually, I didn't have that much criticism of it. You're right in terms of we don't know what he wants, we don't know where he's going. But that strand of him infiltrating unit and building up is really well told, and it's got such a structure to it. It feels very exciting. There's lots of threat to it. Whereas the other strand just was like, as you said, they're doing pointless things for pointless reasons.
Yeah.
I don't really have much more to say about them other than and I found it funny. Because as I say, I think it's been visually something this series, but I love it where they have these big signs that say China and then go interior, or like the Mediterranean interior. Very clear that everything has been filmed in the UK.
Yeah, I think there was about 15 of those title cards in that episode of different location, different name, different year, different location. Like, it's like Chris just loves it. I love
it. I think it's really exciting.
I love the scale of it, but it's also like we've got to establish each of these locations because they're just shot in a studio in Cardiff every time.
Yeah, it is very much sort of an exterior stock shot, interior into but they did the Great Wall of China really well. I can't remember where that was, but that was really, really good. That was the sort of only thing that I had to say on that sort of part. And again, going back to Tecte, I loved Tecte. I loved seeing her. It goes, but there was a really good quote where I was already very convinced with my Doctor Jesus theory.
Yes.
And there was the one quote with the Protectarian, and she was like, "You inspire, you make people question, you make people rise up, you give people hope." And I was shouting at the TV, "So does religion." This is what you're saying, Chris. This is where I've cracked it after 3 years. I don't feel like I have, because I don't feel like I've got an answer. But there was lots of those sorts of things, but then she just died, and it was like,
that was such a waste. I was so disappointed.
Yeah, I just remember saying to you, but there's got to be another beat to that. Surely, she's either got to redeem herself, or she's got to sacrifice herself for the Doctor. And someone said to me, "She'll be back next week. I'm sure she's in the league with Purple Man." And I was like, oh yeah, she probably will be. And then it just all wasn't mentioned again. I was like, what?
And it wasn't like there was even any like emotional response from the Doctor in the next episode. It didn't affect her in any way that we saw. The fact they killed off her adopted mother, like it just was a thing that happened for a dramatic cliffhanger, and that was it. And also, just quickly talking about cliffhanger resolutions, we see the end of episode 5, Swarm's about to tap the Doctor to kill her, and the resolution is she steps out of the way. That is it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, come on, Chris, I love your cliffhangers, but you just need to actually come up with an interesting resolution. They can't just jump out of the way or wave the magic wand. There's got to be something more to these.
It's got to level it up. It's that thing of going to the highest and then settling it down and then reaching up. Because I think it's fine to do that for 5 episodes, but by 6 you've got to be explaining thing. But what I'm just thinking now, what I would really like to see with Tectonian is her saying, stuff you all then, if you're not going to come with me, Doctor. I've opened my portal to the next universe. Sod you. And she leaves, like walks into the next universe, and no one can follow her. That would, could you imagine the emotional wreck the Doctor would be in? So I know she's like sort of like powerful and she's not touched by anyone, but there's your adoptive mum sort of being like abandoning you to a universe. Oh, I really want to see that now.
And
there's really good.
There's just so much. As much as it is filler in the scenes with the Doctor and Tectonian, there's so much sort of potential. We obviously get some info dumping. What is the division? It's kind of what we thought it was anyway. It's not really anything that new, because it's like, it's a shady organization that's always been there and does stuff behind the scenes. It was, it just kind of filled in some of the gaps that we needed. And then obviously, as we said earlier, they introduced this whole multiverse stuff. We get the other universes as a thing. Then you get the Tectonian going, oh, well, maybe you were born in that universe over there. And, that could be where you're originally from, and you could find your own parents. And then it's like, surely, Chris, you are signposting us the finale where she's going to try and do this. So why did you signpost it to then not even mention it again? I'm just like, it feels such a just like we've gone off a dead end there completely. It's just bizarre.
What an amazing dead end it would have been.
It was so interesting.
That would have broken the rules of Doctor Who.
Exactly. He was so close to doing it, and then he didn't. I'm just like, just let us step into that other universe. Give us a new universe and make it look completely wacky and different to our universe. Give us, do something new.
Because I spent a week trying to decide whether Doctor Who could work in a different universe.
Loads of people were talking about it.
Through that universe, we've destroyed this one. Can we start again? Because that's one instance, in one sense, that's amazing. And it's like, you've got a whole new universe to explain. There's no sort of nothing tying you down. But I think it's very much the fact of Doctor Who is it happens to us. It's on our planet. She loves our
that's
planet.
The problem, isn't it?
Planet. Everybody comes to us, and it's not a different version of Earth. It's our version of Earth. And
then it would leave the whole problem of all the old characters and stuff. Are they now all dead and destroyed in the old universe, and we can never bring a character back again from the past? Which I understand that problem. Then I saw people saying, well, maybe the Doctor finds a way to take whatever's left of the universe and transfer it over to the new universe and start from there, or something. Or even just creating the opportunity for the Doctor to explore that new universe without the whole series moving into that universe. Almost do a story in it, maybe a looking for your parents story or something that could use that potential without it like permanently being where Doctor Who ends up. I just feel like there was so much there that could have been done that wasn't, and I think that's a real shame. And that's what just renders episode 5 so sort of inconsequential now. Because all these things just like the only stuff I'd rewatch it for is the old unit stuff, because I love a bit of nostalgia of the unit from the past. Which was great fun as a fan. I love all the references. They got a line of the Brigadier from Terror of the Autons, I think, and played it in.
I missed
and
that
it was like,
when I watched it live.
And then they put him in the credits, and I just little nods like that are great, and I love it. And it's really cool. The original unit outfits and things, and the building that looks very similar in the size. Like it's all fun, and but it's all, again, it's inconsequential. It's just there and nice and doesn't really do anything ultimately for the plot, apart from, I guess, give the Grand Serpent a way to let the Centaurans in more easily. Like him infiltrating a unit, what did that actually achieve apart from knocking them out a bit?
I think it gives him status and threat in sort of storytelling terms. And not so much unit, it's going against Kate and being able to go against Kate, because Kate has always sort of been I mean, she was taken over by the Zygon at one point, wasn't she?
Yeah.
But she's always been a very strong character and sort of formidable. Like you're probably gonna fail because Kate's in the picture.
Yeah.
And then that he was able to overstep her was like, oh, okay, this protector of Earth isn't able to protect us. So I don't know, I did really like the unit strands, because this is the other bit we haven't talked about, Kate and unit. And I really love seeing her back. But you're right in that
she doesn't do anything though.
No.
Kate, I love Kate. I really wanted to see her a big part of the story, but like she's in 3 minutes of episode 5, and then she's a character who has no effect on the plot whatsoever in the finale. She has no purpose at all, unfortunately.
And then she says goodbye to the Doctor on what looks like Bannerman Road.
Yeah, I thought that. And she says, "Oh, and I hope to meet you again, Doctor." Oh, well, we're going to meet her again.
Does she? I missed that.
Yeah, that's like her last line is "I hope I meet you again, Doctor," which I think there's been strong rumors at least that Unit are going to turn up in her last episode. So that was basically just another of those. Kate's probably his character. She's probably going to turn up again in another episode, just to let you know, audience. And it's like I like to see more of her.
Yeah, I just want to see it. I want to see more, and that sort of like time taken. Because all those stories that we've had with her, I'm thinking back to the Power of 3, which I really like.
Yeah.
Sorry, I do actually really like that one.
Yeah. And it's not Chris's fault that it falls apart. It's because what's his name? He played the main actor, the main villain was a complete disaster to work with. And so that's why it all fell apart. It wasn't Chris's fault.
But this is the thing about Doctor Who. That like Alien or whatever, who cares about that? That's not the story.
No, it's not.
The story is the Doctor sitting
but
on the London South Bank or whatever, being like, you want to stop. And I still watch that scene and get really emotional.
Oh, I know, it's great, isn't it?
Because that's just this is what I love about it. That's what I mean. Normally I don't care about the sci-fi.
Yeah.
But like they're all really big character stories for Kate. Like we spend a lot of time with her in Power of 3. We spend a lot of time with her in Invasion. She really like makes such an impact on the plot. Yeah, and I think that was why that was unsatisfying. It was nice to see her. I don't want to be completely negative because it was really nice to see her. It was a really, really good strand.
Yeah.
And there is this nice thing of the Doctor having, well, not even the Doctor having just loads of people in a universe that's being destroyed. All these different people who are like these unlikely gang or this unlikely clan are getting together to save the universe. Yeah. That's a really nice idea.
Yeah.
And I like that she's a part of that.
Yeah. It almost brings us into, not to the same degree, but what we had in Stolen Earth Journey's End when you've got all the Doctor's friends coming together to help him out at that time.
But
it's the TARDIS and all that. Yeah, that's true.
It's much less vain than sort of like, oh, the Doctor touched me and resonated me in this way. These people are just doing it to protect their own world. That's what I like about Chris's Doctor Who. There's no vanity to it. And this like came out, I think I said this to you, like, I think there's part of episode 3, or wherever Jodie does a monologue in space, I find those moments really cringy because with other Doctors, I think that sort of thing works because they're constantly talking at people. They've got such a vanity to them. And I don't think Jodie's Doctor has that because she is that passive observer. She's much more sort of intelligent than them in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And sort of like she will let other people have her own stories. So when you put her on a camera on her own saying things, it's like I don't get that. No.
Yeah, I mean, and I almost think with the character of this Doctor that you almost wouldn't expect her to be, an emotional wreck when it comes to regenerating, because she's not obsessed with herself like David Tennant was and things like that. So like,
really good point.
I hope they don't go down some, destructive path of she's desperate not to change. Even Peter Capaldi had that at the end of his stories, obviously, of, I don't want to change again because I've gone through it so many times. But like, I just don't see anything in Jodie's Doctor to suggest that she would be particularly miserable and depressed and want to ruin, do anything to stop herself regenerating. I feel like she should just kind of accept that and be sad maybe if Yaz is there that she's got to say goodbye to Yaz, or I don't know. But like, I don't think we should see the same, Tunnel Victorious stuff of David Tennant and whatever. I just don't think that fits a character.
No, and that it really actually, I've not thought about that.
No, I haven't until just now.
Because she's the first, or because Matt Smith has a good he is sad
Yeah.
But he's got a nice sort of hopeful or positive
Yeah.
spin on it that
Yeah.
I'll always remember when it was me,
Yeah.
sort of thing. And I think the Doctor
Mm.
can really, she should really sort of smile. If I was directing,
Yeah.
I'd have the camera sort of like, I'd walk up to her with it, sort of be like, it's okay, I'm ready for this, and I'm ready for the new person.
Yeah.
Or whatever,
Yeah.
or I'm glad that because I'm doing this, I'm saving your lives, whatever.
Yeah.
And he just got to
Yeah.
sacrifice
Something more positive,
So,
like, and almost like, and I guess to an extent, Chris Eccleston as well, where it was much more, you know, there wasn't really any great sadness for him. He was kind of just like, well, this is my moment. You know, I've saved you. I've saved the universe. This is my time. I'm going to move on now to the next one. And that was it. And I think that's what would fit her character so much more than anything big and dramatic. I mean, we've got no idea what Chris is doing with it. There's, you know, there is no impression at all of how her last episode is going to play out, apart from having the Master in it. But I'm really intrigued.
Do you think Yaz is going to be there at the Doctor's Regeneration?
See,
because there's that photo of them with the clapperboard, and they've said that they've filmed it chronologically, and that the last shot that Jodie has shot is is her regeneration.
Yeah. And yet Mandip's there. I know it's, and
Mandip's
then,
there.
but, and Mandip's waffling on, doing all these interviews saying, well, you know, I could stick around with the next Doctor as well. And I'm like, why on earth would, in a nice possible way, why on earth would Russell want to keep you on? Like, that wouldn't make, for me, I don't see any benefit to that. So surely she's got to get dumped off just before Jodie regenerates in some way, because I just don't see it that carrying over. I don't see how it would work.
See, I see it into it. I think they might not do a regeneration.
That is what I have been thinking about this, and the way they've talked about it.
Because everyone's one, it's the fact that they've deconstructed the TARDIS.
Yes.
And everyone's like, oh, they can put it on a green screen. No, sorry, you're not going to put a practical set together.
Yes.
Or like they're like, oh, you can put it back together. It's like you've given parts out to different people, which is the most amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, that's the most amazing living present that you could ever give someone, part of the TARDIS. But it's like very clearly the new Doctor is not going to be shot on that size. And okay, I will eat my hat if I'm wrong, and like, please prove me wrong and show me the new Doctor on the TARDIS. I will be astounded.
Yeah, they have not. They haven't shot it yet. I can be absolutely certain of that. They definitely haven't started filming anything yet.
They won't have sort of shot it. And so they're not going to shoot on that TARDIS. So
no, it's gone. It's done. Yeah.
You either Jodie doesn't regenerate in the TARDIS.
Yeah, which is an option. But then why was the last scene?
But her final day
was on the TARDIS. Yeah. Exactly.
With Mandip.
Yeah.
And so will they do the thing of hitting the flirt switch, next stop anywhere sort of thing? The Doctor's regeneration starting or tingling or sort of like.
So what? So you mean almost like we don't see her about to regenerate, just that it ends? Do you mean?
Yeah. Well, either that it ends, we don't see her about to regenerate, or no. So it just ends. She's not going to regenerate. Yeah. Or she's regenerating at some point. She's died. Like she's sort of like had that sort of like Sideman cycle, whatever, peak Capaldi sort of thing. Started the regeneration energy. Yeah. She's going to take Yaz on one last trip, take her home, whatever. Yeah. Button goes down, end of episode. Yeah. Yaz regenerates with her in the TARDIS, and you see her regenerate, and you don't see the end of it. And then when Russ takes over, it's a new Doctor. Which I really want to see, to be honest. I'd really like to see that.
I mean, the thing that obviously won't happen, even though it'd be amazing, would be, you know, not announcing who the new Doctor is. I mean, it's impossible, but, you know, I know it's never going to happen in 2021. But like to end Jodie's last episode, like cliffhanger of her regenerating, and then Russell era just starts with the new Doctor somewhere on an adventure or something, like that would be it would be actually doing something different with Doctor Who. For once, I feel like Chris would be willing to do that as well. Like he's shown that he's not scared of trying different things out with the show and going down from different routes, and just, you know, doing the whole Timeless Child storyline, doing a serialized story. Like, I don't see why he wouldn't be willing to say, okay, we'll cliffhanger do the regeneration to a cliffhanger, and then Russell, do whatever you like. Yeah, I can see that.
Anything that's brave and new and try to be different, I'm there. Like, so I've automatically got respect for it. Yeah. I can't marry up why else is there at the end, because it's not even
Yeah.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is Yaz, Graham, Dan. They're all
Well, we've seen them all. We've seen them all in
looking at the
pictures,
ghosts.
but they were all in the they were all in the TARDIS exterior, because we've seen Bradley and we've seen John Bishop in filming of the
Spoilers.
Centenary special. Yeah, sorry, spoilers. There we go. I feel like everybody's seen the pictures, but and I don't know if we've seen Tosin or not. I don't actually know, but are we going to be really sad?
I presume he'll be there.
Yes.
I can't see them.
And so, they're going to be around, presumably near the end of the last episode of show. Like, they're going to be there in some form, whether it's in a flashback sequence or some dream sequence or whatever. But as you say, Mandip appears to be the one who's in the TARDIS at the time that Jodie supposedly has shot her regeneration scene. But I'm sure they asked her the question at one point, and she kind of worded it as if I filmed my half of the regeneration scene was kind of an answer to the question, which may just be a lie. They lie all the time. But like the way she worded it, I don't know.
Yeah, or it might just be a complete mislead that Mandip wasn't filming on that day. She came because to say goodbye to Jodie sort of thing, or because it's her sort of, or she was doing ADR somewhere else that day. Yeah. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or that, or actually they weren't filming it all chronologically, and they were filming on another set as well from earlier in the episode, just next door, and they got her in the TARDIS, because obviously you're going to take a photo for the wrap, you're going to take a photo in the TARDIS. So
the clapperboard, I mean, I'm really getting into this now. I don't like getting this great that's geeky about. The clapperboard was clean. I'm sure there were no numbers on that clapperboard. There were no C numbers or whatever. It was just a clean one.
Yeah. But I saw a couple of people talking about how the production of Flux seems to be very confusing, because Village of the Angels, in the behind the scenes footage of Village of the Angels, the clapperboards say that it was episode 5, which doesn't make any sense,